You know, every business out there is built on one simple, kind of brutal premise. You either grow or you die. But how do leaders actually decide how to grow? Well, it turns out they often use a surprisingly simple framework. Today, we're going to break that framework down and, maybe more importantly, talk about what it means for the supply chain pros, that's you, who have to turn all that high-level strategy into actual reality.
Right. Because let's be honest, this isn't just a conversation for the C-suite. The second your leadership team decides on a growth path, that decision comes flying downhill and lands squarely on your desk. It completely changes who you buy from, how you ship things, and all the risks you suddenly have to manage. So, understanding the playbook lets you get way ahead of the curve. And the playbook we're talking about is the Ansoff Matrix. It was developed way back in 1957 by a guy often called the father of strategic management, Igor Ansoff. And look, this thing is basically a simple map for charting a company's future. It's been a business school staple for decades for one very simple reason: it just works.
And the genius of it really is its simplicity. It boils down every single potential growth plan to just two fundamental questions. First, are we going to be dealing with the products we already have, or are we creating something totally new? And second, are we selling to the customers we already know and love, or are we going out to find someone new? And when you plot those two axes, products and markets, you get this really elegant 2x2 grid. These four boxes, these four quadrants, they represent the only four fundamental levers a management team can pull to grow the business. So let's break down each path, one by one, and really dig into what it means for the supply chain. First up, market penetration. You can think of this as the comfort zone of growth. It's all about doubling down on what you already do well. And you see this strategy everywhere. Just think about Coca-Cola's massive ad campaigns, or how cell phone companies are constantly trying to undercut each other with better deals. The whole goal is to just grab a bigger slice of a pie you're already eating from. It's all about boosting market share with your existing stuff. Okay, so what does this mean for your supply chain? It all comes down to one word: efficiency. Your mission is to support this big sales push by driving down costs. So that means you're going back to your established suppliers to renegotiate for better volume discounts. It means you're beefing up inventory to handle those big promotional surges. You're the engine of profitability for this entire strategy.
But what happens if your current market is totally saturated? Well, that brings us to our second path, market development. Here, you take a product that you know is a winner and you go find brand new customers for it. It's kind of like finding new ponds to go fishing in.
The classic example here is a company going international, right? Like when Netflix rolled out its streaming service across the entire globe. But it could also mean something smaller, like targeting a whole new demographic, or a retailer who usually sells to consumers suddenly opening up an online B2B sales channel. You're basically taking a proven product to an unproven market. And for the supply chain team, oh boy, this is where the complexity just explodes. All of a sudden, you're not just shipping stuff across the country, you're out there trying to source international logistics partners. You're basically forced to become an expert in tariffs and customs and new regulations. Your supply chain just went global, and it got a lot more complicated. All right, our third path, product development, kind of flips the last one on its head. Instead of finding new markets, you focus on creating brand new products for the loyal customers you already have. Innovation is the name of the game here, and Apple is the absolute master. Think about it. They had this massive, super loyal customer base from the iPhone, and then they dropped AirPods, a completely new product category sold to a market that was practically begging for it. It was all built on that existing brand loyalty. Now, for you in procurement, this is where you stop being just a buyer and start becoming a true strategic partner to R&D. You're not just ordering the usual parts anymore. You are out there hunting for specialized components for a product that doesn't even exist yet. You're vetting and onboarding suppliers with unique, high-tech skills. Your job is literally to make the engineer's vision a physical reality.
And that brings us to our final quadrant, diversification. This is the big one. It's the high-stakes, high-reward play. It is, without a doubt, the boldest move a company can make, launching a completely new product into a market where you have zero established presence.
But it's really important to know that not all diversification is created equal. On one hand, you have related diversification. Think of a car company deciding to make e-bikes. They can leverage their manufacturing know-how. But then you have unrelated diversification. And the textbook example is Amazon. They went from being an online bookstore to a dominant force in cloud computing with AWS, a completely different universe. So what about the supply chain team? Well, this is your Mount Everest.
You are literally building an entire supply chain from scratch, from zero. You're dealing with suppliers you've never heard of, in markets you don't understand, with risks you haven't even thought of yet. The potential for something to go wrong is massive, which means the need for exhaustive due diligence on every single new partner is completely non-negotiable.
So when you lay it all out like this, you can clearly see that these four paths exist on a spectrum of risk. Market penetration, that's your safest bet, for sure. But as soon as you start introducing new products or new markets, that risk level climbs. And diversification is sitting right at the very top as the boldest and by far the riskiest venture of them all.
So how do leaders actually use this thing? It's not just some theory. It's a pretty structured process. You start by taking a hard look at where you are right now, your products, your markets, your capabilities. Then you brainstorm opportunities in each of those four boxes. You evaluate the risks. You prioritize the best path forward. And then finally, you build the actual plan to make it all happen. And this right here, this is the key takeaway for you. Your role isn't just about executing someone else's plan. Your deep, on-the-ground knowledge of supplier capabilities, logistics networks, and market risks is absolutely critical for helping leadership choose the right path in the first place. You aren't just a part of the plan, you help make the plan. You're a strategic enabler.
You know, at the end of the day, the real power of this matrix is the clarity it brings. The research says it best. It forces alignment. It makes sure that every single growth initiative is deliberate, that it's focused, and that it's directly tied to the company's biggest goals. No wasted effort. So I'll leave you with this question, something to take back to your team. Looking at these four paths, which direction is your company actually moving in? And more importantly, is your supply chain really built for the journey that's ahead?